They come in 5 to 15, basically 3-1 on. Manchester United 2-1 to advance to the next round. You take a look at everyone's predictions. Before I even see this, I bet Higginbottom's gone Man United. There he is. Big United fan, of course. Can't be subjective in these sort of games.
No, I am being subjective because I'm looking at the Premier League game between the two.
Right.
And it was 2 set pieces from Arsenal.
Yeah.
I thought Manchester United kept them relatively quiet. Saka's not going to be available.
Okay.
So then you put Mainu back in midfield for Manchester United because he didn't play in that game, and Fernandes was deeper. So I think this is a game that, I'm not saying they will do, but I think they've got a really good opportunity. And the pressure's mounted on Arsenal now, especially after midweek.
Yeah. Now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, or 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think it'd have been easy to sit here and go, right, barring some catastrophic happening, Arsenal are going to win this. And not that they've had great consistency, but I think there was a lot of hope from United in what we saw at Anfield. I'm upset, and we were like, what's he? And he was upset because he'd seen that performance at Anfield, but he'd seen basically a lot of garbage.
Yes,
in the
he's
games
seen that
before.
passion that he felt was missing before.
And so he's thinking, well, if they can harness that now, why can't they do it Bournemouth at home? Why can't they do it in these other games? So that is the $1 million question, because Arsenal do have a little bit of vulnerability about them with injuries, with their performances have not been as strong as they have been, and obviously that result against Newcastle has piled a bit more pressure on. Man United pitch up, play like that, they have a very, very good chance.
It's a good time to play Arsenal, isn't it?
I think it is, and to be honest, I think this Arsenal suits Manchester United at the moment, because Man United have gotten to a place where their standards have dropped so low that actually they prefer playing the bigger teams because the pressure kind of is off them, and I think that's why they perform so well against Liverpool. It's your Bournemouths and your Aston Villas that United have really been real poor against this season, and for me now,
But is that attitude then? Because
I think it just got to a point where they became so bad that actually they probably got to that Liverpool game last week and thought, you know what, we might as well just go for it because the pressure's off. No one expects us to win. Their expectations have dropped. Their standards have rock bottom, and they actually took that pressure off themselves and they actually performed. So I think that these kind of games at the moment, Manchester United will perform better at than the tier below.
But there was a lot of pressure going into Anfield because there was the possibility again of taking an absolute pasting. Yeah. And maybe it was more worrisome for the manager and the coaches than it was for the players. I don't know. But why is the performance different then from, say, I know Bournemouth at home, for example, Casemiro played, it was slightly different personnel. But how can there be such a sea change from the Man City game, the next 4 games they lose, they're terrible, and then they pitch up and, I mean, they could easily have won that game at Anfield. Yes, the personnel was different, but the mindset had to be different.
See, I don't, to a certain extent, personnel. I think you look at Eriksen and Casemiro both started against Newcastle. For me, that was strange. Was that potentially the manager sending a message saying, I need better players than this in midfield for the style that I want to play? Their 3 best performances that I've seen so far, yes, they got beat by Arsenal 2-0, but you could see what they were trying to do. Manchester City win and Liverpool. It's when, going back to what Kieran says, first of all, the onus isn't on them. They don't have to dominate possession. If you look at Manchester United, and this has been unfortunately the case for a number of years now, when they play against the lesser teams, where they have to dominate the ball, they don't have enough leaders, they don't have enough players that will organise, so therefore they get caught out. When you play Liverpool, you play Man City, you play an Arsenal, you can sit back. You can sit back and say, right, okay, you can have the ball. Look at the goal that United scored, the first one from Martinez. That was a good defensive shape. They were like, okay, we can push on now. It's when they get caught wide open, that's where they're completely lost at the moment, because the team is still, when they have to be expressive and when they have to play really expansive, it's a team of individuals. When they have to play as a tight unit, then it's collective, because it's easy to be as a collective. It's easy to be a collective when you don't have to dominate.
But there has been games against, we could say, mid-table opposition where they haven't always had the bulk of the ball because they haven't been that good. Is it a sense that at home at Old Trafford there is a pressure from the crowd to push forward?
Yeah, you think,
and then all these things that you're talking about come to fruition, out of shape, not organised, and then the quality's not been. but the crowd, that home crowd pushing you forward, not accepting the fact that they're sitting back against mediocre teams and then they get caught out.
I think you do add that to it, but it's no surprise that they've conceded so many goals from set pieces. And this goes back to the organisation side of things. You know what it's like? It's like when I was playing myself and you played against the big teams, when you played against the Arsenals, the Manchester Uniteds, the Manchester Cities, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, as a defender, it wasn't the easiest game because you were playing against world-class individuals, but it was an easier game because you were compact. Whereas when you're playing against the so-called lesser teams, and I'm talking even about Manchester United at the moment, that's where they struggle. And the fact that they've conceded so many set pieces, that tells you all you need to know about the lack of organisation. So if you're playing expansive football, who's communicating, who's organising? I don't see anybody in the team that's doing that. Therefore, if you've got that blueprint of we're sitting back and we're sitting deep, we only have to move 5 or 10 yards at a time.
What's wrong with Arsenal?
Well, it's certainly gone flat. I don't think that the timing of the Newcastle game and the manner in which they lost the game has helped Mikel. They had Xhaka, who I think is a huge miss. I still don't think that they've fully replaced him. And they had that inverted fullback, and that was kind of like their style that they had and their answers that they had on the left-hand side of the pitch. And they had Saka on the right with Odegaard. Now that Saka's out and they don't have that on the left, I think that they've just hit a bit of a wall. And obviously, I thought that they had the answers when Yeri came in. He looked really bright, and unfortunately, he picked up an injury. And so now, Mikel is just trying to find another solution internally, and he seems to be struggling at the moment.
Do you think, so obviously with Saka, do you think that makes them more vulnerable defensively when he's not in the team because the players and the team have to get higher up the pitch? And I know he has a huge effect going forward. Do you think he affects their own defence as well?
I think he does an incredible amount of work defensively anyway, Bukayo Saka. I mean, I would love to know his physical stats, and I think it's not talked about enough, and it adds to why he's such a great player. He's such an important part of the team, and he is their best player. And when you take him out, and just before Odegaard came back, when those two players are out, is not the same team. And so they've had that, plus they've had all of those issues at the beginning with silly suspensions and whatnot.
And they don't have a striker.
But even without Saka doing defensive work, and he does do defensive work, but even notwithstanding the fact, if you take the defensive side of it out of it, the very fact him being there.
Yeah.
2 left backs, right? You got Bukayo Saka there. Do I join this attack or do I not?
Right.
And do you need a teammate to help you out with him as well?
That you win the ball back, full-backs love to get forward and help. Is he cheating on me? What's he doing? I can't leave him. The centre-half doesn't want me to go. So it takes that fear factor away, or certainly some of it. And then we've seen Arsenal a lot of time, to be fair, predominantly going down that side with Odegaard and Saka. Yeah. So a lot of teams are getting lopsided and double up on them. That's when Arsenal had to be better, switching the play and stronger on the other side. I think for me, one of the things is Arsenal are very much still in the title race. They're not out of it, but they're going to have to find a mojo again. It seems a lot of it, injuries apart, loss of form. We really have got caught up in this set piece, sort of how Arsenal are great at set pieces, how they're always a problem. Where Arsenal have been very, very good in the last couple of years is pressing the life out of teams, particularly at home. Just not allowing them literally to get out their penalty box or out their half. And if they've tried to play out, Arsenal have won it back. They've done it probably as well as Man City and others. Not recently, but certainly last season. Then when they got the ball and they won it back, they were on you like a flash again. The speed of the transition was so quick, and I just feel they've lost a little bit of that. When they do win it back, they just don't get at the back four as quickly as they once were.
So do you think then, because Odegaard is the one that initiates the press, but then Saka follows. So if Odegaard's initiating the press and you haven't got Saka, all of a sudden, does that press then get a little bit stretched out?
I've just watched games, particularly at the Emirates, when I've thought, wow, this, whoever it was one of the, I mean, it's not always been the best of teams, but I thought, these teams are trying to play out, and Arsenal are just not letting them out their own half. It was like they were smothering teams because they knew they were so much better. They'd win it back, then they'd go and play. I just feel with Arsenal, it's got a little bit pedestrian and a little bit predictable. And if they are going to find a way back to catch Liverpool or even beat Man United in this FA Cup, they're going to have to get back to the basics. And that was dominating games, winning the ball back quickly, and using their pacey players going forward. When they win it, into midfield, out to Martinelli, and they're flooding forward. You don't have a chance as a team to get back into defensive positions. Whereas lately, I feel with Arsenal, they give you a chance to get.
Hello United fans. Welcome back to the channel, your go-to source for all things Manchester United. Today, we're diving into our upcoming FA Cup third round clash against Arsenal this Sunday. Let's explore our current form, managerial strategies under Ruben Amorim, and what we can expect from this high-stakes encounter. As you know, Ruben Amorim took charge of United in November 2024, bringing a fresh perspective and tactical acumen to Old Trafford. Despite his efforts, the team has faced challenges, currently sitting 14th in the Premier League. However, Amorim remains optimistic about the future, stating he's very excited about the year ahead. Our recent performances have been a mixed bag. We secured a hard-fought 2-2 draw against Liverpool at Anfield, showcasing resilience and tactical discipline. However, this was preceded by a 2-0 home defeat to Newcastle, highlighting inconsistencies that need addressing. Notably, Marcus Rashford has been absent due to illness, missing the last 4 matches. The good news is that he's back in contention for the Arsenal game, which could bolster our attacking options. Before we delve deeper, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stay updated with all the latest news, match previews, and exclusive insights about Manchester United. You won't want to miss out. Looking ahead to the Arsenal match, Amorim has confirmed that Altay Bayindir will start in goal, giving first choice keeper Andre Onana a rest. Bayindir, who joined from Fenerbahce, has had limited appearances, all in cup competitions. His last outing was a 4-3 loss to Tottenham, where he conceded directly from a corner. This decision has raised eyebrows among fans, especially considering Arsenal's proficiency from set pieces. Arsenal, on the other hand, are coming off a 2-0 League Cup loss to Newcastle, but have been impressive in the league, scoring 13 goals. In their last 5 matches, manager Mikel Arteta has expressed admiration for Amorim's impact at United. Acknowledging the improvements since his appointment, he anticipates a challenging match, despite United's current league position. For United, this FA Cup tie represents an opportunity to shift momentum and build confidence. Amorim has emphasised the importance of maintaining our academy talents amidst financial constraints, with players like Kobbie Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho being pivotal for our future. There's also ongoing speculation about potential departures to balance the books, but Amorim is keen on retaining key players to strengthen the squad. In terms of tactics, Amorim's approach has been to solidify the defence while encouraging quick transitions. With Rashford potentially returning, his pace could be instrumental in exploiting Arsenal's defensive vulnerabilities. However, consistency remains a concern, and the team must exhibit cohesion to overcome a formidable Arsenal side. What are your thoughts, fellow Reds? Can Amorim's United pull off a victory at the Emirates and advance in the FA Cup? Share your predictions in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video if you're excited about the match. Let's rally behind the team and hope for a memorable performance. Glory, glory, Man United!